let's talk about lesbians in space. Have you ever wanted to read a book about two lesbians who live in this planet and hate each other a lot, but they have to go together to this other planet to participate in a contest, and they have to work together because one of them is a necromancer and the other one is her soldier, but they want to kill each other instead? Well, I have the book for you. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura, and today I'm going to talk about a book that I have so many to say, and it is a book you probably know, Gideon the Ninth. I usually don't go for science fiction books, so this was kind of an experiment for me because I've been reading the same old fantasy books like Brandon Sanderson, Joe Comrie, John Wayne. It's really easy to pick up the same kind of book over and over again, so I wanted to read something completely different, and let me tell you, I have a real mixed opinion about Gideon the Ninth, but original it was. Gideon the Ninth is about two girls, Gideon and Harrow, who, as I said before, hate each other a lot. They are from the same house, they are from the Ninth house. Well, technically Gideon is not from this house, but Gideon's background is kind of a mystery going on throughout the book. The book starts with Gideon trying to run away from this planet and is caught by Harrow. So something happens, and at the end Harrow kind of convinces Gideon to go with her to this contest, and if you win you become a lector. You don't actually really know what that means. You actually don't really know what anything means because you are following Gideon, who basically doesn't care about anything. And while he knows what is going on, the mastermind is Harrow, and I really wish we were following Harrow, but we are not. The thing is that for Harrow to go to that contest that she really wants to go because she wants to be extremely powerful, she wants to be immortal, she has to bring along with her a cavalier, so a soldier, to protect her because they are going to be working together as a team, and Gideon is kind of her last resource for that. So they go to this planet and they are going to meet the other duets from the other planets that are called houses. So now that we know what the book is about, I'm going to tell you what to expect for this book, so you can decide if it's going to be for you or not, because if you didn't know, this book has extremely polarized opinions. First thing, I absolutely hated the beginning. This was actually my second try trying to read this book. The first time I listened to the audiobook and I thought I wasn't paying attention because of the audiobook. I tried it summer last year, I think, and now this year I decided to switch to the ebook to see if that worked better for me, and actually I hated it even more. I had to switch back to the audiobook, otherwise I would have DNF'd this book for two reasons. The first reason is the one everyone is complaining about. The plot is a mess because basically what I told you about the contest is what you have. You arrive there and you have Gideon trying to go around this mansion they are living in. Harrow completely disappears. She's like, don't talk with anybody, don't do anything stupid, just stay there. So Harrow disappears to do who knows what, and you have Gideon, who is a really annoying character to follow because she's really kind. You see that she's a really good girl. I don't know why, because her childhood was awful, everyone hated her, but when you're following her point of view, she's like an angsty teenager. Like, she's sarcastic and witty, but she has a kind of humor that I really don't like. Like, I really don't like when you're following books where the main character is over the top funny. I think I like my books to be a bit more serious, and that's one of the problems I have with the book, is that it has a lot of humor in it. So for me it was really hard to be in this really difficult scene where people are trying to get alive and they're suddenly making jokes with the other person. I'm like, can you focus please? And the second thing I hated is something I haven't really seen people complaining about, and is the fact that there are so many descriptions. I mean, if you don't give plot, you kind of have to give descriptions. I don't think I've ever finished a book that has so many adjectives per word. I was reading it, I was just like, adjective, 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 noun, adjective, 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 noun. I'm like, I need some verbs, I need people doing things. She could have used that time to explain me what everything about the houses and the necromancy was about, but no. I'm really bad with descriptions. As I said before, nobody's really complaining about it, so take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I think there were too many of them. Now let's talk about the things I actually liked. The first one was the queer representation. I actually thought this was going to be a sapphic romance with fantasy, but it's actually not really a romance at all. Like, it has some love in it because it's more of a platonic relationship, because they hate each other and they mistreat each other for reasons you get to know like at some point of the book, but at the same time they kind of respect each other. Like, you're not really sure what kind of relationship they have, and that's the beauty of it. If but just don't read it just for the romance, because there is not really a romance going on here. It's more of a fantasy with sci-fi. Think about moving from one planet to another, and everything seems like very sci-fi. And then you have necromancy, which is very, very magical. It's not a magic system that you really understand, because they are not going to explain it to you. But if you do like seeing some battles where they are going to be using it, you are going to have them. The problem is you are going to have them in the second half of the book, because in the first one, as I said before, nothing really happens, other than like a battle at the beginning with Gideon and Harrow. As for the other characters, I will say, again, as in the humor, it's extremely over the top. You know what, usually in a book you can find one character that is kind of weird, kind of quirky, that really stands out for being this really strange human being. Well, in this case, you kind of have all the characters be like that. In fact, my favorites were the 6, Palamedes and Camilla, because they were like the most normal ones. But it's true that you can't really differentiate them, or at least you could if you actually recall their names, because there are going to be so many characters introduced to you at once, because there are going to be 8 houses, because the first house is not a house anymore. So you have 16 people in total if you are not counting one more, because one of them are twins. So you have 17 people in total, 2 of them are Gideon and Harrow, but still there are a lot of people to be introduced to you at once. The character I think was the most interesting was Harrow. That's why I'm really interested in reading book 2. Harrow is the necromancer. She's young, she's 20-ish, and you know that her parents are dead, but nobody knows that her parents are dead save for Gideon and 2 other people, because she's moving them. Like, she's so powerful that she's able to make these dead people move as if they were alive. So everyone thinks they are just doing a vow of silence, but they are not. They're actually dead. She's kind of trying to save the Ninth House, and for that she has to become a lector. You know that she seems to know what's happening and what she has to do, but she's not going to share it with you, which is going to be extremely annoying. And Gideon, she has the patience of a saint sometimes, because if my necromancer was someone who spent her whole life bullying me and she just disappears after telling me don't talk with anybody, I'm just going to do my thing, I'm 100% sure I was not going to obey her. I was going to do whatever I wanted to do. But Gideon, she loves to complain, but she's actually a really good guy. So besides the relationship between Harrow and Gideon and the mystery of Harrow in general, I really, really loved the fact that this is like Game of Thrones. Like, everyone can die, and it took me a while to understand, because as I said before, at the beginning of the book nothing really happens, but then people start to die, and it's so amazing. Like, I fell in love with the book when I realized it, that nobody was safe. You can call me crazy, but it was so much fun. I would say that the author could have been better at maintaining the suspense. I think if you give us a small peek, like a teaser of what's going to happen or what Gideon knows about something, it makes you more curious. So at this point, you're probably confused about whether I like the book or not. Don't worry, I'm actually extremely confused. I think I actually really enjoy it, because it's one of those books that you kind of suffer at the beginning because it's rough. Not everyone suffers at the beginning. I have a friend who is absolutely loving it and she's like in 20%. But if you are like most people, the beginning is rough. And then to reach the end, and it's one of those books that you keep thinking about. That's the thing, I wanted something different. I wanted to read something I haven't read before. And while I was reading Gideon, there wasn't any point where I was like, I've read this before. So if you are used to reading a lot of books, or if you are someone who really enjoys reading different books, this one can really help you with that. Just take into account the plot is going to be messy and the action is going to take a while to happen. There is going to be descriptions, there is going to be a lot of humor, and the fact that a lot of people die. I have to admit though that even though I really hated the humor and just how over the top the characters were at the beginning, I kind of got used to it. I kind of wanted to give them a hug. It was the kind of book that made you curious to keep reading. I'm really excited to read Harrow the Ninth. I'm also extremely afraid of that book because everyone says that it's confusing through all the book, like just not the beginning is boring. No, everything is confusing. So if you have read Harrow the Ninth, please leave me in the comments how amazing that book is. This is my review for Gideon the Ninth. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to hear more of me, you can subscribe. If you like this, please give a like, makes me happy. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon in another video.